My wildcard has been activated. I had too many suspect players in my team and they had to go. And instead of using my free transfers, I thought, why not activate the wildcard and fix this team for good? In this video, I'm going to run you through my wildcard team, why I picked these players, and also run you through why I think this is the most balanced wildcard team out there. If this sounds good to you, do me a favor, drop a like, subscribe, and hype the video. Let's get into it. Let's start with the forwards, the most exciting part of our FPL team. These are the players that are going to be banging in the goals for us and delivering us points week in, week out. Now, in this graphic here, you're going to see I've got 15 strikers on the screen. It's got all the stats that you need when you're analyzing these forwards. I've got goals, assists, shots, accuracy, XG per shots, non-penalty, XA, and XG non-penalty. I mean, these are the things you want to be looking at before bringing in a forward to your team. I'm not going to run through each one of these forwards. I've already gone through it and restricted it to make it easier for us to run through on this video. Now, I've limited it to the players that I really like and can actually be in my team. I know there's a lot of people out there that create content, talk about players that realistically they would never ever buy. And you shouldn't be considering those players either. Let's start with Haaland. I mean, do we even need to run through his stats? He's a man possessed at the moment, playing the football of his life. He cannot stop scoring, so let's just forget him. The second player I'm interested in is Mateta. Look at him, only behind Haaland in this graphic. And this graphic is ordered via XG non-penalty. He's currently on 3.29, albeit he's only scored 2 goals. He is one of the biggest underachievers so far. But all of his stats stack up nicely. When you add, he's only 7.5 million. Crystal Palace are a team playing very well, and he takes penalties. It's only a matter of time before he starts delivering those points. Gyökeres at 9.1 million is a bit more of a premium price, but playing for a superior team, challenging for the Prem. His stats have currently gone up as well. You could see he's an XG non-penalty is 2.23. He has got 3 goals, but the upcoming fixtures look really good for Arsenal. We'll talk a bit more detail about him soon. João Pedro, I know in the last 4 games has stunk up the place. I think it's like 2 shots in 4 games, but we have to take the red cards into perspective. They did play 2 games with red cards, which isn't ideal for a forward. You're just chasing shadows, to be honest. But he is still someone I'm very interested in. Do not be alarmed. You can see Calvert-Lewin highlighted. Yes, the only reason he's even considered is because he's 5.5 million. If I want to play a strategy with a cheap third striker, maybe he's the guy that ticks the boxes. The Newcastle striker replacing Isaac Walter-Malde, coming in at 7.2 million, has been in a rich vein of form recently. He even scored for Germany in the second game in international break. Bowen is quite far down in the stats, but one thing we know about Bowen, he always delivers. He's the talisman of West Ham, and you'd like to think Nuno's going to be trying to get the best out of him to keep West Ham in the Premier League. And last on this list is Isaac. Now, I know he hasn't started his Liverpool career well. The long transfer saga plus fitness issues has meant he started the season pretty slow. And that's not for Liverpool, for Sweden as well. Now, from these forwards, we need to start to narrow it down. And the first player I'm going to start with is the most obvious, Haaland. You would be a huge risk taker to go with a team without Haaland at the moment. He cannot stop scoring, like I said a minute ago, relentless. Yes, Manchester City's fixtures are going to get trickier. If you want to be super brave, differential, you'd probably go without him to take on the crowd. But I'm not going to recommend that. I don't think you should be doing it. I'm not going to do it myself. He's the first player in my team. So that's a quick one. The second player is going to be João Pedro. I said a minute ago, the last 4 games, if you judged him just on that, you'd be like, why is he in your team? But I'm not going to judge him on that. I'm going to look forward for the upcoming fixtures. Chelsea had a great win against Liverpool before the international break. You'd like to think the confidence is going to be flowing. And more importantly, he got a lovely international break rest to fully recover and train to get his fitness up. So that's a big positive for me right there. Now, the last striker spot has been difficult to fill. You saw in the previous graphics, there's just so many options. I've narrowed it down to these 4 on the screen. I've got another graphic below them to try and help me pick the best one. Now, I'm going to run through the pros and cons of each of them. Walter-Malde, the main striker for Newcastle now. Wissa still not fully fit. I like Newcastle's upcoming fixtures as well. I think they suit a striker like him. And Newcastle have so much power and pace on the wide areas. If they can get down the flanks and deliver the ball in, I can see his goal scoring run just continuing with these upcoming fixtures. Bowen stats you can see on the screens, they don't look good at all, and it's not fair to judge him because under Potter, West Ham were hideous, yet he still was delivering. It tells you the caliber of player we are talking about here. Still got 3 goals in that West Ham team. Now, under Nuno, West Ham are going to improve and they're coming into some lovely fixtures. Look at them, some gorgeous upcoming fixtures. This is the reason I really like him. I mean, it's a shame he's not a midfielder this season. That made it a bit more difficult, but I don't think that's enough for me to not consider him in my starting front 3. Mateta, I've already spoken so fondly about. I really like him. The penalties is just the extra cherry on the cake. And Crystal Palace's fixtures are not bad at all. The Arsenal fixture in game week 9 makes it look a bit ugly, but the rest of the fixtures are gorgeous. And Crystal Palace are super strong this season. And lastly, GW8. He is improving game by game. You could see he's starting to adjust to the Premier League now. I know his goal ratio hasn't been that great considering he's played good minutes in the last 4 games, but the fixtures were difficult. Look at Arsenal's upcoming fixtures. You know they're going to feed him. They've got such a deep squad. Even with injuries to players like Odegaard, it doesn't matter. Eza, Saka, there's just so much talent still on the pitch to supply this man the ammunition for him to score those goals. I've gone through all the players. Before I show you the player I'm picking, please get in the comments and tell me which one of those would you pick. All right, let me tell you who I'm going for. Walter Malday takes the spot. The Newcastle frontman will be my 3rd striker. Goalkeepers, not as fun as picking forwards, but they're still a necessity in our FPL team. And I'm going to run you through the 4 I really like. Let's start with Raya. I mean, it's obvious why we like him. Arsenal tick all the boxes for defense, clean sheets, all that good stuff. He would be the ideal goalkeeper, but coming in quite expensive, 5.7 million. Also takes up an Arsenal spot. You might want to use that spot in attack, for example. Pope, the leading goalkeeper in FPL. I didn't expect it. Newcastle have been super solid, tight defense this season, and they've had very difficult fixtures. So when you add the good upcoming fixtures, you'd like to think there's some more clean sheets in there for Pope. Sanchez is a goalkeeper I don't really rate that much, if I'm honest with you, but the reason is in here. Chelsea have great fixtures, and if you don't want to pick one of their defenders, but you still want defensive coverage from Chelsea, Sanchez might tick that box. 4.9 million is not too bad for someone that might get you a couple of clean sheets in these upcoming fixtures. And lastly, it's Mamardashvili, a very good goalkeeper. He's going to be Liverpool's future goalkeeper to take over from Alisson, but he's already getting some early training. As we know, Alisson might be world class, but one thing about him is he's very injury prone. So Mamardashvili has been dashed in. Looks like he's going to have at least the next 3-4 fixtures, maybe all the games up until the next international break. I don't think they're going to rush Alisson back. Having said all of that, Liverpool's defense has been poor this season. Doesn't look like we're going to be keeping many clean sheets. But if you do need money, for example, you're trying to scrimp and save because the rest of your team is eating up too much of your budget, there's nothing wrong with that. You could go there. Bear in mind, you will have an issue once Alisson's back. So if you don't want to be wasting transfers in goalkeepers, I think you can discount him right now. Now, I've run you through the 4 I like, but the 2 goalkeepers I'm actually going to go with are Dubravka, obviously, 4 million. Second goalkeeper who actually plays this season is a given. I think he's in everyone's team. And the main goalkeeper is going to be Pope. The 2 things I really like about Pope is the fixtures, and I like his price point. Not as expensive as Raya. Raya would be, if you didn't have a money issue and you didn't need to utilize an Arsenal spot in another position, you would go Raya. Peace of mind. I don't think anyone's going to come close to clean sheets as Arsenal this season. But for me and my team, Pope is the second best option. What do you think of my goalkeeper pairing? Get in the comments and let me know. We're going to talk defenders now and then finish off on midfielders. So defenders, this is the 5 I've come up with. You need to let me know what you think about this back 5. But let me tell you the reasons why they're in my wildcard team. Gabriel and Timber. I mean, Arsenal this season, and to be honest, the last 3 or 4 seasons under Arteta just look formidable in defense. Gabriel's probably the best attacker of a ball at set pieces in the Premier League. Since he's joined the Prem, no one has scored more goals than him in headed set pieces. Timber's just an elite player. The more I watch him, the more I like him. Arsenal were unfortunate to be robbed of 1 year of his football with that hideous injury. He's back. He's fully fit. There's a small potential of minute risk, you could argue, of Benjamin White being such a good player. But the way Timber is playing at the moment, I'm quite comfortable taking a risk here, hoping that he starts the majority of the games. Juve, I started the season with him. I didn't expect West Ham to be that bad, but to be fair to him, he still delivered some returns. He's got some excellent assists so far this season. He's got a wand of a left foot, and that was under Potter. Under Nuno, he might even go up further as an FPL asset because they might actually keep a couple of clean sheets. Oh, and I should say, there's been talk of West Ham playing a back three, which means he'd be a flying wing back. That will take him onto another level. Next up, I've gone with the Bournemouth left back, Truffert. Of course, I would have preferred Senesi, but money's a bit tight. But he has been playing the majority of the games, got a couple of assists, and still playing in this excellent Bournemouth team. And last but not least is Rondon. The Leeds defender is having a great start to the season, been pivotal to Leeds' early success in the Prem this season. 4.1 million, cheap enough to be able to leave him as the third sub, but if you do ever need him, or in my circumstances, I need to bench boost soon, he's a perfect player to have on the bench. You can see below the fixture list, I've ordered it via difficulty for defences, and as you can see, Arsenal come up top again. Arsenal on the top for the attack and the top for the defence. This is why an Arsenal triple up is a must if you're currently on a wild card. Leeds and West Ham both have good upcoming fixtures for defences, hence the reason they're in my team. And Bournemouth's fixtures are not that great, but Bournemouth being an exception here. They're such a good team, but there is one more important thing. I could have got another defender in that position. There's quite a lot of cheap defenders this season who are clicking up defensive contributions, but I needed someone that rotated very well with Juve and Rondon, especially as I'm looking to bench boost in game week 9. So that's the reason he takes that spot. So the plan would be to play the double Arsenal defence with one of the other defenders. I've looked at this and they've got good rotation for the upcoming game week. So this is something that I'm at ease with here, and hopefully I should be able to put out good defence the majority of the upcoming game weeks. Midfielders is probably the position I've tinkered the most so far. There's just so many options and there's pros and cons to each one you pick. So I've found it very difficult, but I have come up with 5 that I really like. And we're going to start with these 2 first. These 2 are almost look at my essentials at the moment. If I'm not going Gyökeres, I'm going to want an Arsenal attacker. And who better than Saka himself? Already starting to ramp up the minutes. In fact, he played 90 minutes in the last Premier League game, and it's starting to show week by week he's getting stronger and fitter. Pivotal player if Arsenal want to win the Premier League. Fixtures are incredible. The only thing that could possibly ruin this Saka pick is if Arsenal do get a penalty and he's being Mr. Nice Saka and gives the ball to Gyökeres. That could be pretty annoying, as in this wildcard I have swapped from Gyökeres to Saka, so that won't be great at all. I'm hoping that he does keep the penalties, and judging by what he said there, there's zero clarity. We have no clue. Let's see what happens. I'm hoping I land on the right side of luck in that case there. Beside him is Semenyo. Now, this guy here has gone on to another level. We've seen the talent in the previous seasons. He's always looked good on the ball, very good dribbler, super powerful and athletic. But normally in the last third, he's reckless, wild, and just boots the ball out the stadium. This season, not sure if it's luck, he has said he's been working on his finishing, and to be fair, I've seen the clips and whatnot, and maybe that training, that extra conditioning he's doing is finally coming to fruition, because this season, he's even taken free kicks, he's taken penalties, he's become the main figurehead of this Bournemouth attack, and Bournemouth are a super attacking team, very good team, even with the difficult fixtures coming up. Like Haaland, I don't think you could take him on. I think at his price, you just put him in your team and leave him there. So those 2 midfielders, it didn't take me long to pick them in my team. I like both of them. There's no issues there. I think you agree with that as well, right? The next 2, it was a bit more trickier because there's just so much choice. Let's start with Sarr. Now, this guy has incredible numbers. And when you consider he's missed a couple of games with a little hamstring injury, he's back, thrown straight back. He's in one of the main outlets for this Crystal Palace attack. Sarr is fundamental to that team. Most attacks go through him. He's pivotal. And at that price point there, 6.5, surely there's not a place I go without him. Enzo's the one I've been back and forth with. On one hand, I rate him as a player, but when Palmer's there, possibly he takes the backstage and doesn't perform as well. Palmer is still out injured. That groin injury is persistent, so he's not going to be back for a little while, which means Enzo is treated as an attacking midfielder. In fact, I've seen Maresca say in an interview he looks at him as one of the attacking midfielders, and even against Liverpool, he should have scored. He hit post with that header. He makes that run into the box, into the back post quite often in games, and hopefully if I get that luck in the upcoming fixtures where I can get a couple of attacking returns. With penalties, I'm not 100% certain he's got them. Some people say it's still Pedro. Similar scenario with Saka and Gyökeres. There's a lot of uncertainty this season, but I'm not really too fussed. He's in the team because Chelsea have incredible fixtures, and I think there's returns there for us with Enzo Fernandez. And lastly, it's Reinders. Now, this is probably the most controversial pick in this midfield 5. I'm not sure what you think. Get in the comments to let me know. But I like him still, albeit he's been dodging points every game week. But he plays in this incredible City team, very attacking. He plays in a nice position and the minutes have been very good. You'd like to think with this midfield five I've got, especially as I've got a front three, I can rotate them and bench one of the midfielders who has a hideous fixture. So say, for example, in game week 9, I can bench Saar against Arsenal, leave him on the bench, play Enzo and play Reinders. So this is the thinking behind this balanced team. The fixtures for these midfielders are a bit of a mixed bag. Some of them, like Saka, are incredible. Some of them, like Man City, maybe not so good. So this is the reason for me to have 5 good midfielders. I can always rest one of them if they've got a hideous fixture. So let's have a look at the wildcard team in all its glory. This is how I've currently got it starting for game week 8. Pope in goal. I've got a double Arsenal defence with Juve making up the back 3. The midfield 4 is Semenyo, Saka, Enzo and Saar. The front 3, Walter Malde, Haaland and João Pedro. The subs, Dubravka, Reinders, Truffert and Rondon. Now I'm going to give you some of the pros and some of the cons of this team. I'm going to start with one of the pros, and that is very balanced. Every week I should be able to put out a decent looking team. And by that I mean, for example, in game week 9, Saar has Arsenal. I can drop him to the bench and play Reinders. If Juve's got a difficult fixture, I can drop him and play Truffert. This is the thing when you've got a balanced team. You've got that flexibility to be able to change formations, change players depending on the upcoming fixtures. So that's a big positive if you ask me. Now let me hit you with a con, and it's a big one. I have no easy way to get to Mohamed Salah if he does all of a sudden turn it around and start playing like the Mohamed Salah of last season. I can't even do it in 2 moves. Because my money is so spread, as the squad is so balanced, it becomes a problem. So these are the sort of things you need to consider and have plans for. I'm hoping Mohamed Salah doesn't go crazy and I don't need to think about him for a couple of games. At least till I built up 2, 3, 4 transfers, which then if worse comes to worse, he does go off, it's easy for me to make those moves. But currently at the moment, I would have to sell Saka and Haaland potentially to change that around. It's not easy when you've got a team this balanced. Another negative, which is the flip side of having such a balanced team, is I will be having benching dilemmas every week. Shall I play Reinders? Shall I play Enzo? Shall I play Saar? Yep, it's one of the downsides of this team. A minute ago, I just said it's a positive, but you have to look at it. It can be a negative as well. Every week you've got benching decisions, which sometimes can frustrate you when you put the bench player who delivers the goals and the player you start blanks. Another positive with this team is his captaincy. Now you could argue, why do we even talk about captaincy when we've all got Haaland? Yeah, it's probably true at the moment. But there will come a stage where he probably slows down and we want to consider other players. Saka, for me, when he's fully fit and Arsenal are on it, he's 100% captain material. I think Semenyo this season has put his hand up as potential captain material. So there's a couple players in this squad that can be captain if I need them. Now the deadline is not until Saturday, so I'm intrigued to see, do I stick with this team or do I make a couple of tweaks as the week goes on? Of course, if there's injuries or more information that is actually relevant to some of these players, say someone is injured. In theory, Enzo is injured, but let's see if we get the right information come the end of the game week, and then I'll know if I'm going to have to make a couple of tweaks. But as of now, this is my wildcard team. Get in the comments and let me know, what do you think of my team? If you're still watching at this point, I want to say a big thank you to you. Really appreciate all the support. Hopefully you've dropped a like, you've hyped the video, and you've subscribed to the channel. Get those notifications on so you know when I'm live streaming. You're going to want to join in. We play a weekly game with prizes for free. Jump in to the deadline stream and find out more information.